Hey everyone, Matt Moate here, the Principal Consultant of MatthewMoate.com. As many of you may be aware, a couple of days ago I posted about a new initiative I was starting called #AskMattMoate.com. I wanted to provide some value to my audience of over 15,000 connections on LinkedIn, and in these current challenging times provide an opportunity for a two-way conversation between us, or all of us, to engage and help each other out, because I think our networks and our communities are some of the strongest assets that we have. I am really happy that Melissa Dunbar from Big Fish Events here in Adelaide was one of the first cabs off the rank to post a question. And what she was essentially asking is how to re-engage her client base of event managers and hosts, or event hosts, as she's the event manager, to re-engage and re-look at their scheduling and hosting of events, given that obviously pretty much everything had been either cancelled or postponed through the current COVID crisis. She mentioned in a question that they've done obviously a lot of work through the lockdown period in terms of providing COVID-safe plans, in terms of the technology for full live to the other end of the spectrum, virtual and hybrid events. That they're all ready to rock and roll, but the confidence for their clients is perhaps where they're facing a challenge. So I wanted to think about it, having been the CEO of a national industry association. I sort of taking this from that perspective. I know when COVID really blew up, our whole priorities, even though we were largely geared towards events for networking and education and associated sponsorship, our whole focus and priorities and resourcing really completely changed in an instant, overnight, to advocacy. We had to make sure that the Australian wine industry could keep on running, that our members could keep their businesses up and running and servicing that industry, and also, not only advocacy to government, but also trying to stay on the phones and support our members. So I think the first step is, and I'm sure Melissa and all of her colleagues have this, is empathy for the changing priorities of their client base, and thinking about, with that changing priorities of their client base, what could they do to potentially support that? So rather than necessarily trying to promote, what's been done in the past, what are the new opportunities that have come out of that? The other side of it, and I was just want to give a big shout out to all the people that collaborated on the SABouncingback.com virtual event that was held during the week. I thought it was fantastic, not just from an events perspective, but they had some really good and fantastic leadership and thought leadership and mindset advice in there. And I'd encourage everyone to read it, and I'll put the comments in this thread, or I'll put the link in this thread. So moving on from that, I think the problems is around events take a long lead time. People don't know where we might be in 6 months' time or 9 months' time, depending on what the event is. So I think anything that can be done to clearly demonstrate risk mitigation. I think as a business that has a CRM of customers that put on events or host events, that there's some opportunities for event managers and venues, etc., to think a little bit outside the square and look at creating those collaborative connections, maybe even between two organisations or businesses that perhaps may see themselves as natural competitors, but also have complementary value that they're delivering to their industries, and therefore how could they work together to share that risk on hosting an event? As individual businesses, they might not have the appetite still to do that, but as two businesses that you can put in the room together, they might be really keen to explore those opportunities, and that might create future efficiencies. And I think in these sorts of environments, consolidation of businesses and services and reduction of duplication is certainly something that a lot of people are looking to consider. From there, I think the other big opportunity is understanding that in anything there's, whether it's new or reinvigorating, there's early adopters. And it's really about supporting them as much as possible, and the best way you can do that is promoting them. So whether you're an event manager and there's someone else managing another event that's not yours, just promoting that out to your database to show that events are happening would be really quite valuable. So whether you're a venue and you might be the convention centre, but there's something happening on at the National Wine Centre and you're competing venues, at the end of the day, if you can all demonstrate and support each other, you'll show that you'll show the community that events are possible and they're happening. As part of that, I think it's really important to show the advantage of being one of the early movers and the early adopters of the new technology and of the new formats. And obviously, I remember pre-COVID, people would say to me, "Oh, there's so many networking events to go to. I just don't, get to half of them." Well, there's not going to be that many networking events to go to. So being an innovative business or association that's willing to be able to take the risk either on their own or in partnership with another partner is going to absolutely drive value. I'm going to leave it there. I think there's some really good tips in there, but I don't know everything and I don't ever profess to. So if you've got some ideas how event managers, speakers, organisers, workshop facilitators can really re-engage their client base, stick them down below and let's share it and let's actually have a conversation. I'll be happy to also reply to those comments. And lastly, I need my next question. As I said, I wasn't necessarily committing to a daily or weekly video, but I need to know what questions you have. Apologies that this is my backdrop today. I mean, I quite like the picture, but I'm not in a vineyard as I was in my first video because it's pretty wet and dreary up here in the Barossa Valley today. So put your question below, askmattmoate.com. It might be about marketing, it might be about business development, it might be about really anything that you're having a challenge with in your business, and I'll be happy to throw my 2 cents in the ring and also try and encourage and activate some more conversations around it. Have a great weekend, and I look forward to your questions and delivering on the next hashtag askmattmoate.com.